Hey, what's up there, friends and neighbors? Happy Wednesday. It's your boy Kels back again with another episode of the Culture Marauders podcast. And look, it's a lot of stuff happening, right? Action-packed day. Your boy Kels is drained from the media coverage of the inauguration. So with that being said, hey, happy inauguration day, and congratulations to Joseph R. Biden and Kamala D. Harris, the new president and vice president of our great country, sworn in today. This is significant. As you all know, we had a little bit of a rough patch, with the outgoing administration. I'm not going to talk about it. He did what he did. He's out. So fresh day, fresh start. But, historical day, right? So we got number 46 in office, and, and the significance behind our first female vice president. That's wild to say, but it took us this long to get to this point. But yet here we are, and better late than never. So congratulations to the first woman, the first Black woman, and the first South Asian American woman to hold a position on a national level. So congratulations and well done. So we're rooting for you. We definitely need some healing in this world and in this country. And please, please, please do not make us look like asses any worse than our previous president did. So thank you. So with that being said, y'all, hey, welcome back. It's Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. We're still rocking and rolling. And we got a fun show for y'all today. And it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be here we go. So we already got our first comment. So Chef Katie and the Culture Marauders. Hey, Christina. Don't be giving away the guest already, all right? Don't be giving away the guest. We'll get there in a minute. But, hey, I appreciate you tuning in. As a friend of the show, Christina from PRP. So, anyway, like I said, we got a fun show. We're going to talk about one of my favorite things, which happens to be food. And I'm sure that's a lot of y'all. So, you're in for a treat today. So, today we're marauding on the culinary arts with our guest today, Tampa's own Chef Katie Cox. We're calling this one What You Got Cookin'. So, what's up, Chef Katie? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So how's the year been treating you so far?
It's good. It's been busy. Life is good. Yeah.
So take it busy in a good way, right? Like not busy when you get home, be like, shit,
No, busy in a good way. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So before we get down to brass tacks on this show, right, to the meat of the heart of the matter, the meat and potatoes, as I like to say, since you're new to this, we are going to go ahead and break you in with a nice little icebreaker with our game that we like to play and lay on our guests. The one's got to go, right? The one's got to go. This is a game where, it's a card game of elimination. So how it's going to work is that I'm going to read off. Actually, I'm going to draw from these random cards that I have here, right? So, yeah, of course, I know what's on all of them, but random to you. So I'm going to pick one of these cards, and I'm going to name 4 different options, and you got to get rid of one of them, right? One of them has to go, never to be heard from ever again. Their existence never even happened.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. So I'm going to shuffle through. Oh, don't be looking. Shuffle through. I'm not a magician, so whatever I think is right there. So here we go. I'm pulling from the middle. Bam. One's got to go. Burgers, sandwiches, ribs, or pizza. It's got to go, never to be heard from again.
I feel like I'll probably catch a lot of slack for this, but I'll say ribs.
What?
I know.
I love ribs. So
I know.
All right, look. So why ribs, right?
You
why
can
ribs?
still have pulled pork without ribs, right? I mean, you can't get rid of burgers, and sandwiches are just universal. There's so many different kinds. And pizza. I mean, it's pizza.
Look, you're catching slack. Casey Cox said, "Come on, chef." you broke so many hearts with that answer right there. Like,
no matter what I said, I broke hearts with that answer. It's hard. But I can still have pulled pork without the ribs, so I'm good.
All right. So next icebreaker, and so that was one's got to go. I got some stuff that I want to ask you myself, right? So one's got to go. The card game of elimination. I'm still waiting for the sponsor deal from One's Got to Go. And I'm going to keep out y'all until y'all give me one. So if y'all know anybody out there in the world, fellow Marauders, hook your boy Kels up, connect me so I can go and get that deal. It's a dope game. One's got to go. So check it out. So Chef Katie, look, next icebreaker question I got for you, right? What is your worst dining experience you've had?
My worst dining experience. I mean, I would have to say I can't name the place.
Why not? Yo, that's fun. You got to name the place, and it's gonna make them step it up. So you got to call them out.
It was a very it's not that exciting of a story, but it was a very random Longhorn Steakhouse in Pennsylvania when we
Oh,
used to live in Pennsylvania. But it was just no one ever came to the table.
that
Like,
happens a lot.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was like, I mean, we're good sports. Like, we made a game out of it. Like, let's see how long we can wait until they notice that nobody came over here. I think we ended up waiting for like 25, 30 minutes.
Like they didn't even bring water or nothing?
Nothing. Nobody. Nothing. Like, but we're thinking, right? Like, the longer we sit here and no one comes over, the more free stuff we'll get afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Because they're
Well,
gonna,
what do you think?
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, in terms of food, I don't know. I'm like, I'll be picky, but I'm always like nice about it. Like, I love food, so I'm happy to have food in front of me. So I'm not that picky when it comes to like going out to eat. Like, I'll judge like the place or like the kitchen and stuff like that. But in terms of food, like, I can't really say I've had any horror stories. I would say it was just on the service side of not having anyone come over.
Okay, all right. So you say you're a food fan, right? So you know you like having food in front of you. Did y'all say anything like to them at all, or did y'all just get up and walk out?
No, we just sat there like and just like hung. I mean, because we're both in the restaurant business, and so we don't see each other often. So we're just sitting there hanging out. You know, it's not like we're expecting this amazing meal at this restaurant. So we're just like,
I know, like you had one Longhorn, you've had them all, right? So I mean,
so we're like, let's just see how long this takes. It was like 25 minutes. I mean,
damn, that's too long. I would have said something.
I know.
I would have got like mad hangry and just
it almost became a game at that point though. Like, really, how long can we sit here and go unnoticed with all these people walking by?
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the worst dining experience, you had to wait for a while. All right, that's understandable. So look, I got one last icebreaker question, right, before we can stamp and certify you as a fellow Marauder. All right. So don't mess this one up. So this one right here, like, inquiring minds have been wanting to know, you know, and I know me and my son, we've been debating back and forth. Even my wife is in on this, right? Is McRib real meat?
I think the answer is probably going to be no.
What do you mean?
But on the other side of it, who really cares? Like, it tastes good.
You know what? Okay, when you followed it up with that, because the sauce, right? The sauce makes it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, people don't go to McDonald's and get the McRib or go to Taco Bell and get a beef taco because it's the best and the finest meat from the farm. No, they go because it tastes good. So I don't know if it's real meat or not, but I'm still gonna eat it.
Well, people look forward to McRib coming back, like they look forward to like Christmas dinner. Like I'm saying, like they are pumped when they start seeing the commercial. I had the last McRib I had. I was living in Jersey prior to like the one I had recently, and it was years ago, and it was so gross. Like it was old, like there's barely any sauce. They were cheaping out on the sauce, and I was like turned off. I was like, I'll never eat this shit ever again in my life, right? And so then I was like driving down. I was driving up from Tarpon Springs, and for fellow Marauders, those of y'all that aren't familiar, Tarpon Springs is a really dope area. It's like a huge Greek influence, right? So I was driving back from there, and I saw, oh, hey, what do you know, McRib? I was like, you know what? Nobody likes a quitter. So your boy Kels turned right up into McDonald's, ordered the McRib special, and it was fantastic. I'm like, why did I ever doubt this? I was a fool for doubting it. So
that's funny.
Look, Megan Price said yes. So she knows there's a lot of fans out there. So that's my McRib story. So all right. So look, I think you did well. You're kind of shaky on the one's got to go game, but I'm willing to let it go. The homie Kono High said the sauce is what's best. You're right, but you got to have it hot, and the bread has to be soft. So look, Katie, you are a stamped, certified Marauder. So welcome to the crew. So yeah, you got to be more excited about this. Not everybody. Thank you. All right, we gotta sell this. All right, you gotta be enthusiastic. So so welcome to the gang. So yeah. So all right, now we're getting into it. Right, everybody's tuning in. This is what you came to see. So all right, who is Katie Cox?
Oh man, you're just gonna ask point blank like
that,
like right into
it. Give me the regular, like where you from. Give me a little bit of background on your personal story. Let the Marauders know who am I talking to today.
Yeah, so I am a personal chef in Tampa, Florida. I was born and raised in West Virginia. I was there for 18 years. Amazing place to grow up. Loved it. Right along the Ohio River. I worked on a stern wheeler boat, the 300 passenger stern wheeler boat when I was growing up, which was probably my favorite job I've ever had, basically as a deckhand. And then I came to Florida to go to school. My grandparents lived in Florida, and so we came down every Christmas, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, why do people live in the snow? Like, what is that? So first chance I got, I came to school here. I went to Florida Southern College in Lakeland, Florida.
Okay.
I got my bachelor's degree in business management. I kind of wanted to go to culinary school right out of high school, and my mom kind of pushed me like, well, let's get your bachelor's first and then we'll see. So got my bachelor's, and then I went to culinary school at Le Cordon Bleu in Orlando. And then during one of my classes, I think I was like 2 classes in, and one of my chefs said, if you don't have a culinary job or a kitchen job right now, you need to get one. So I went to work the next day. I was working at Seasons 52, and I was hosting because I was just trying to make money to get through school. So I was a host. So I went to work and said, hey, can I work in the kitchen? And they were like, yeah, sure. You're a good host. Let's see you in the kitchen.
All right. That does not translate, right? Like I could be good at a lot of things. It doesn't mean I'm qualified to be a pilot. So I mean, like, how do you go from being a good host?
I was going to culinary school. I mean, come on. Like,
all right. You know, okay.
no, right. It's funny because a lot of people, I mean, you don't obviously in this profession, I'm sure there's more out there, but you don't have to go to culinary school to work in a kitchen. A lot of people work their way up. But I mean, I did work my way up. I just happened to go to culinary school too. But I started from host, and now I'm here. That's what I like to say. So, so I got into the kitchen and just worked my way up and down the line, learning all the positions. I was promoted to be a sous chef in 3 years. So in those 3 years that I was there, I helped open 3 new restaurants as a trainer. So I went around the country and helped open new restaurants, and then got promoted to be a sous chef. I went up to KOP, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. I was there for 2.5 years, and then my director knew I wanted to be back in Florida. So when Tampa opened up, he called, and I got moved back to Tampa. I was the sous chef at Seasons 52 in Tampa for almost 4 years. And then, yeah, COVID happened, and that was in March. The restaurant closed for about 6 weeks. We were on takeout only. So it was just managers in the building. That was a lot. And then a couple months, maybe like a month or so after we reopened, I left. I was like, I can't do this. And so I didn't leave with the intention of doing this, of being a personal chef. I left with the intention of taking time off, enjoying my kids, and finding something new by like September. September rolled around, nothing happened. And I did do a couple interviews, but I got in connection with Christina from PRP, who was another former colleague. And she was doing these events, these wine tastings, and said we could do food with it too. Why don't you do it? And really that was what kickstarted it. And so I started doing the in-home dinners, a little bit of catering, virtual classes, all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, we're in late January now. So, I mean, I guess it's a thing. So
hey. It's better a thing than not a thing. So,
yeah. So I mean, I did the whole 9 yards. I got the LLC, the insurance, all of that. So, I mean, it's legit right now. I mean, I told myself I'm going to give it a year and see what happens if I can make it sustainable. I mean, I'm loving it. So that part is a no-brainer. But I just have to make sure financially it's going to work out. I mean, my doors are open to, I would go back to the restaurant industry, but it would just have to be the right position, which my standards are kind of high right now, just because I do have this option of being a private chef. So yeah, that's kind of my background in a bubble, I guess.
All right. So you went from from working on a boat in West Virginia to now you're a private chef. Yeah, that's a hell of a story. That would make like a really cool like Ron Howard movie. Like let the whole story unfold. So I got a couple questions on here, right, from a couple of viewers out there. So I got Megan Bryce and Dahlia Cox asking, was the bachelor's degree worth it? Both of them asked that question, actually. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say for sure for multiple reasons. I mean, the big one is obviously the social aspect of it. I was in a sorority. I have tons of friends, obviously, still to this day from college. So it was worth it on the experience level, but then also for sure on the business and the professional aspect, because especially for being a chef, there's not a lot of chefs out there that have their bachelor's degree. So a lot of people will
really?
So a lot of people will either work their way up, which is amazing too. And a lot of people will just do culinary school. So there's different programs in culinary school too. Like you can go to culinary school and get your associates or get your bachelor's. But I just did the regular traditional bachelor's and then the culinary 9-month program. So I didn't take like the math classes and the English classes in culinary school because I did the bachelor's. But yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't change that for anything. That was some of the best 4 years of my life. So.
Okay. So let's talk about your early years in the kitchen, right? So you talked about, you mentioned that you went to Le Cordon Bleu. What was that like? And what was, that whole experience about? Because, I see like, I watch Hell's Kitchen off and on. I watch Gordon Ramsay like smack these folks and they call them donkeys and all kinds of shit. And it's funny, but I know I wouldn't be able to handle it. I could be kind of pissed off. So, and I'm pretty sure Le Cordon Bleu it's legit. So explain to me and the listeners what that journey was like.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely way more professional than what you see on TV and things like that. And way more professional than the kitchen, even because then I started working in the kitchen at that point. I mean, it was more Hell's Kitchen-ish in the restaurant than it was at school. But school, I loved it. I mean, I actually ended up graduating as the valedictorian. I spoke at my culinary school graduation. I would go back in a heartbeat if I could. I still, to this day, I take online classes myself, like free virtual cooking classes, because food is just the biggest realm of things to learn in the world. I mean, there's so many different kinds and
it brings people together too, right? It's one of those things that brings people together, like music.
For sure, yeah. So school in particular, I loved it. I think probably because I was good at it, and I'm the kind of person, if I'm not good at something, I run far, far away from it. And so I ended up being really good at it, and I loved it. I mean, in terms of the strictness, it was very strict. Like, I don't know if you can tell, like I wear a lot of makeup. Like they got on me about how much makeup I wore. I'm just like, oh, I can't not wear makeup. So, and even just like having my hair, like if it was even coming out of my hat the slightest little bit, they would get on you about it. But it was an awesome experience. I mean, the way that it worked kind of in my classes is like the chef would do a demo. We would do all of our mise en place and our recipe, and then we would almost walk it up like in a line one by one up to the chef and have them taste it, and then we would clean. Like that's kind of how class went. So I mean, I still remember to this day I remember 2 specific occasions. One where I served raw chicken because I was in culinary school and like it had gone into the fryer and I pulled it out and went and served it to my chef, and they were like, "This is raw." I'm like,
loved it, didn't
sorry about that. And then another one where like it was some sort of sauteed spinach on the bottom of the plate and then chicken on top. But the chef ate it and was like, "This spinach is burnt." And he was like, "Why would you serve me something burnt when you know I have to taste 10 more dishes from 10 other students, because now all I'm going to taste in my mouth is burnt?" And I'm just like, sorry. Like, so yeah, I mean, those situations though, you never forget. Like that's I'll never, like, you can't get rid of burnt. Like once you have the burnt flavor in something, it's done. You can't mask that with butter or anything. So,
you should have said it's Cajun style. You don't have the palate. So I got Katie Cox, right? So Casey is asking the question: is there a chef or culinary professional who inspired you to do what you do, or why you're doing now?
I mean, obviously my parents, which probably sounds a little cliche, but they always cooked growing up. I mean, I would say in terms of like professional chefs, this probably sounds funny too, but a big one for me was Sandra Lee, because she was like the queen of semi-homemade.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel like I like to cook now. And part of that has to do with being a mom. I have 2 little kids running around, so if I can have help from this particular method or doing something a little bit different, not necessarily taking shortcuts, but if I can get cut cauliflower rice at the store instead of buying the head myself and grating it, and it's going to come out the same, I'm going to do that. So just things like that. I think most of that probably just goes along with being a mom, and also the part of not liking to do dishes. And in my profession, being a personal chef, I'm the one that does all the dishes. So I'm going to use as least as I can. So yeah, I mean, I would say, Sandra Lee, of course, Rachel Ray, Bobby Flay. I mean, I watched Food Network growing up, but I mean, those are all the cliche answers, of course. So we'll stick with my mom and dad.
All right. We got another question that came in from Christina. You mentioned you had kids. Do they like to cook?
That when I let them in the kitchen, they do.
Yeah, that's your dojo, right? You don't want them coming and messing up anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will often let them be in the kitchen, and because that's how I grew up. I grew up in the kitchen with my parents cooking all the time. So I feel like that's super important. I mean, I feel like it's almost similar to sports. Like, I feel like everybody should play a sport growing up, just because there's so much that it teaches you. So I feel the same about cooking. I want them in the kitchen. My daughter is 5. She's pretty good. She'll go in there and saute some bacon sometimes and like swat my hands away when I'm trying to eat it.
You're better than me. I won't let my daughter make me cereal. Forget that, man.
I know. It depends though. I mean, but then they'll sit on the couch and be like, "Mom, we want this. Mom, we want that." I'm like, "You know how to cook bacon. Go get it for yourself." So,
Wow.
yeah. So,
Okay.
but they definitely want to be involved as much as I can let them.
Okay. So, you talked about the burned spinach and the raw chicken and all that stuff. So what is your biggest success and the biggest lesson learned in your early years that you still carry with you now?
I mean, I would say biggest success, I personally think, is really just being able to be a part of those restaurant openings. I mean, getting to be a sous chef and all of that, I mean, that was awesome and great, but at the same time, it's almost like this that's the path. But being able to do those restaurant openings, not everybody is able to do those, and so I did 3 of them traveling across the country. And you just meet so many people, and especially at those new restaurant openings, the people there want to be there. They want to learn, and that's one thing you'll see in the kitchen sometimes too, working in like a corporate environment. I'm sure independent places too, but you're going to have people there that are just there for the paycheck. Like, not everybody that's working in the restaurant that you go to on Saturday night is trying to be a chef, Right. Like, there's a lot of them are there trying to get a paycheck, and that's great, but it's hard for the other people that are there that are like passionate about food and like care about what the plate looks like and stuff like that. So so to be able to do those restaurant openings was probably my biggest opportunity, and just where I learned the most, because you're just with people that love food and want to be there and want to learn, and they're just eager, and everything you tell them or teach them, they're just soaking in. And I think that's where I really started to realize that I like cooking, teaching also. So I'd say that's the biggest success or opportunity. I mean, biggest lesson learned, it probably sounds like grim, but I would just say that really nobody's going to look out for you but you, which might sound harsh, but that's the harsh reality, I feel like, of life. And
that's life too. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you really have to look out for yourself. And I think I learned that early on, and I think it really saved my butt a couple times, because I wasn't leaning on anybody. And I knew that nobody was really watching out for me. Even though I do have like a really big support system, and I had a support system within that career, I still just feel like you have to look out for you and do what's best for you and trust your gut. Because you can't trust anybody. And I know that sounds bad, but I mean, that's just kind of the lessons I've learned. And that's really given me the thick skin that I have today, especially being a woman chef. So, yeah.
Okay. So I got one more question for you. But before we do that, look, Dahlia has one more question. Bacon, crispy or chewy?
I'll probably catch a lot of slack for this too, because this is actually a poll that I've put on my own Instagram before, but I am a hardcore chewy bacon fan.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. I need just a little crispness on the fat, just a little bit, but the rest, and I like a little bit chewy myself.
It's like butter. If you cook it right when it's chewy, it just melts in your mouth. A crispy bacon to me tastes burnt. Even the slightest bit of crisp, I taste burnt. I can't.
See, so I don't taste butter, so I've probably been cooking it wrong all these years. But now that I know, I'm going to work on that. So my last question. So you talked about, nobody's going to look out for you like yourself. Take care of yourself. Do you, as chefs, do y'all have like chef wars or beefs and stuff like that, where y'all go around like sabotaging, sprinkling like little extra ingredients in each other? There's got to be some chef dirt out there, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say it happened a lot when I was a line cook, when I worked in Orlando, because that environment with the team that we had there, I was there for 3.5 years, and it was very much a family. And so we would all go out together after work, and like we just all kind of had each other's backs, but at the same time there's always pranks and stuff that would happen. And so like even the chefs would pull pranks on the line cooks. So there was times where, like, the way Seasons is set up, there's a front line and then there's a back line. So the front line is actually open so the guests can see, and then the back line is more like a closed kitchen. So I happened to be working on the back line, and I had, like, you're not supposed to eat in the kitchen. I mean, you can taste your food obviously, but like you're not supposed to be sitting there with a plate of food yourself, because it's not sanitary and whatever. So I had a little boat of like mashed potatoes or something. I don't even know what it was. And I had hidden it on my station, and I had another boat on top of it. And just so it was like nobody could see it. And the next time I went to go take a bite, it was straight sriracha. And I was just like, and I start like looking around, and my sous chef at the time is just like, you're not supposed to be eating back here. Like, he put the sriracha in my mashed potatoes. I'm just like, what? Like,
he broke that up quick.
Yeah, it was bad. I'm just like, so yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely like little wars and things that go on. But I mean, for the most part, if you don't have that family environment in the kitchen, then it's not going to be successful. Everybody really has to have each other's backs, or else it's just this constant cycle of, this person didn't prep enough and set me up, so I'm not going to set them up, and it's just like this vicious cycle. So the best environments obviously are the ones where everybody really just has everybody's back. So, and I've worked in those environments, and there's nothing that compares. So
all right, that's what's up. So good, looking out for one another. All right, so look, so we're going to go ahead and switch over. Megan, I got your question. It was already a question I was going to ask, so I'm going to hit it here in a second. So we're going to transition over to the next round of questions, right? We're going to call this one Styles from Beyond. So you, as a chef, you've been doing this for a while, right? So I'm pretty sure you have all kinds of different cooking styles and techniques and all kinds of cool stuff. Tell us, how many different cooking styles do you know?
I mean, cooking styles, like being like what, like elaborate on the styles.
Well, I mean, like shoot, I mean, in there like French methods. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, you're the chef. Like, what different type of like techniques? I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, like I kind of like to describe my background. My cooking background is really the best of both worlds, because I grew up really with Southern cooking. Like, my mom would fry chicken in Crisco, and then I went to a French culinary school where we used heavy cream and butter. So like I know how to make things taste luscious and good, but then yeah. So then, but then on the other hand, I worked for Seasons 52 for 10 years, which is very calorie conscious. Everything is now it's under 595 calories. So when I first started with them, everything was under 475 calories. There were no fryers in the building. So I know how to do both. And so that's why I feel like I kind of have the best of both worlds. Like I can do the heavy, luscious, like feel good, indulgent dishes, but then I can also do, like the meal prep and just like the making something simple taste amazing. So I kind of got both, I feel like.
Okay. So this is the question that Megan wanted to ask. She goes, what is your go-to dish?
My go-to dish. I mean, I don't know. I've actually had a lot of fun with Christina with the PRP. Just doing like we did steak Diane and we did a chicken coq au vin, so chicken cooked in wine, which have both been big hits with my clients that I've kind of taken and used like personally. So those are definitely some big ones. I mean, if you're talking about my kids, it would be pasta and butter. So yeah, I mean, it really depends. I would say dessert too is another big one. Like I'm into dessert and chocolate and everything like that. So I would say like a chocolate tart would be my go-to dessert.
Yeah. Now you're talking. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
So
yeah.
All right. So what is your favorite dish to make? I know, we asked what the go-to dish. What do you enjoy preparing? Like, there's some things that I may not necessarily like to eat, but I'll cook it because it's fun to experiment and try something different. So for you, what would that be?
I mean, this probably sounds weird too, but I would say anything that has like cool knife cuts. Like I think culinary school put that in me. Like I like the julienne and the brunoise and like all kinds of different like specific knife cuts because I like holding a knife and I feel like I like working with my hands and making cool cuts. So anything that has that, and then I don't know, I would just say anything really that's fun in terms of like sauteing and flipping a pan. Like I like cooking a dish that's just roasted in the oven. That's not fun. Like you just put it in the oven. It's like
flipping and
right. Like any like flambe, like things like that. Like anything that you're like set it and forget it. Like that's not fun. I mean, it might taste good, but that's not fun. So I would say anything that has the knife action for sure, and then just having fun on the stovetop, flambe and saute, things like that.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you that. So you said to set it and forget it. So do you feel that crock pot should be banished from any kitchen in this world?
I don't, because I'm a mom and I get it. So plus, I mean, you can still get a lot of flavor that way. It's just it's just not as fun, I mean, but I mean, it's the same thing as like, I mean, what did they do before crock pots? They just put it in a low oven and set it for a few hours. So it's the same process.
I am not a fan of the crock pot.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because now that I'm thinking about it, I couldn't tell you the last time I used the crock pot, but I will say, yeah, but when I was, when the time I really used it was when I got home from the hospital from having a baby, and we literally made like the freezer bags, like 30 freezer bags and put them in the freezer. So like every day we would just pull one out and put it in the crock pot for a couple hours and that would be dinner. So it was cool for that. But now that I'm thinking about it, I couldn't tell you the last time I used it.
See, and your crock pot meals are probably way different than crock pot meals. Yeah. Like my friend Kyle, he just said leave the crock pot alone, and he's a fan, and I always give him shit too. I'm like, dude, the crock pot is like it dries out meat, it just doesn't taste good. But hold on, we got Christina. She has another question. She goes, how else do you make pulled pork without a crock pot? Well, Christina, I like to use a thing called a smoker. That's what I make my pulled pork with. So, but I'm not a chef. I'm just a guy that likes to grill. So, but I'm not a big fan of the crock pot. Like, I honestly, the only time I'll mess with a crock pot is if it's like with like oxtails or short ribs or something like that. That's when I'll mess with a crock pot.
Well, now there's the Instapot too. So everybody's using that for like the short ribs and things like that. So
right. Yeah. All right. So my last question in this little segment is, who would you like to cook for? What would you make them? and why?
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's funny because I mean, working at the location that I did in Orlando, we actually had a few celebrities come in because it was Restaurant Row right there, like by Disney. So like Tiger Woods would come in, and Martha Stewart came in one time, and so man, who would I like to cook for? I mean, I guess if I really think about it, which is probably another lame answer, but I would say the Chopped judges. Just because I watch it and I'm just like I'm big on like reality shows and stuff like that. So I follow all of them on Instagram and things like that. And so like Alex Shelly and Bobby Flay and like all those people, like that would be fun. Just because like to get into the Chopped kitchen, and because like sometimes you from watching it at home, you're like, why wouldn't you do this, you idiot? Like do this. Like why are you doing that? So like it would be cool to actually be able to kind of show my stuff on there, I think.
So have you thought about like auditioning or filling out an application to go? I don't know the process. I mean, but have you thought about that?
I haven't, just because it's kind of a lot. It's a lot of pressure. But I would say maybe if I continue to go down this path and do this for a few years and really get some solid experience and recipes under my belt, then I might. Because the thing for me is I worked for a corporate restaurant for 10 years. So I don't have this huge repertoire of a portfolio of food that I've made because I was making corporate food. I mean, so that's why it's been so fun too, just because I've been able to experiment and really figure out what I like to cook and the kind of flavors that I want to make. So, but I mean, maybe down the road, that'd be cool.
You know, I mean, a lot of those people on that show don't look like they know what they're doing either. So
I know that's why I want to go on it. Because I'm like, so what are you doing? I could do so much better than that.
At least you have formal training, and you could probably whip up a mean something. I mean, go on there.
Well, especially like, I mean, I feel that way about Chopped, but I especially feel that way about the baking shows, like the cookie shows. Like, come on, like sometimes the stuff that they make makes me cringe. Like, I know they have to be under a ton of pressure, and it's got to be.
And you're on television, right? You're on television. You don't want to look like a dumbass on TV and mess up, and they amplify everything. So one mistake, you throw it out the system.
I mean, I get it, but like those are the ones that drive me nuts. Like, come on, guys, like pull it together.
So, Casey asks, can you beat Bobby Flay, or could you? You think you could?
I mean, no. Like, unless I did something like very. So the show like Beat Bobby Flay or whatever it is. The people go on there and they get to pick the recipe, I think, or they get to pick the style. So unless it was something like super like West Virginian, like pepperoni rolls or something that like he might not even know what it is, then maybe, but probably not.
Man, you never know. I mean, some people go on there and Bobby gets shook and can't pull through. So, but you know what? I'm rooting for you. I'm pulling for you. Yo, nail down something really dope, and then go on there and let me be the first person to interview you when it's over.
Yeah.
You can brag. Yeah, gloat and brag. All right. So right. So you got a lot of stuff happening right now, right? So you talked about, when we connected, we talked about, your business, you're an entrepreneur. You said you got the LLC, you got the insurance, you're stamped, tried, true, and legit, ready to rock. So what's on the menu? What's happening with you right now? So tell us some of those things that you have in the pot brewing up right now.
Yeah. So part of the reason I think this has been so fun is because I'm not just strictly doing one thing every week. It's constantly changing, which is what I love. And that's what I loved about working on the boat. And that's what I loved about the restaurant. Because it was always something different. So, I'm doing with Christina from PRP. I'm doing, it's called Chef Cheese and Corks. So we've been doing those since I want to say September. And basically PRP International will do a wine tasting. So Christina will lead that. The guests get to drink 8 different wines, taste 8 different wines.
I'm familiar.
And then we'll do charcuterie as well to start. That'll be paired with the wine. And then I will actually make an entree and I'll demo that too. So Armature Works has a really cool show and tell kitchen that has like the AV and all that. So the guests can actually see me cooking a demo. And then I'll always make a dessert too. So all of the food that I make, the wine is infused into it, whether it's the chocolate truffles with the wine infused or making the chicken cooked in the wine. So things like that. So the next one is on January 27th, which is actually a week from today. So those tickets can be found on the YouNation app. So come see me cook a week from today in Tampa at Armature Works. And then I'm doing in-home dinners. So really those are just people reaching out to me on social media. So, I mean, I always think like, what happens if like Facebook or Instagram go down tomorrow? Like what happens to my business? I don't know. So I've been really lucky to have a giant support system on social media. So like family and friends. So I've been doing the in-home dinners where really I will just connect with somebody and figure out what kind of menu they want, and then go to their house and I'll do all the shopping, all the prepping, all the cooking, make it all. I'll serve them like sitting down at their own dinner table, clean everything up, hopefully cleaner than I got there. And that's it. So those are really fun. Those are probably my favorite of what I've been doing, just because they're real personal. You really get to connect with so many different people, and those are the ones, that's where like the meat is, where like I feel like I could write a book just from the last 3 months of dinner parties I've done, just because there's just so much to tell. There's so many different stories, but everybody's so different, but everybody's so much the same. So it kind of just gives you a little perspective. And then I'm also doing virtual classes. So those are really fun. So I'm doing private and public. So I have I have 3 coming up that are public. So the public ones are just $15. So basically you sign up, I'll send you your equipment list, your shopping list, you'll go get that, and then we'll meet together on Zoom and cook for the night. And so they're usually about an hour, and then you get dinner at the end of it, and they're really fun. There's usually at least 10 to 15 people on those from all over the country. So everybody's just connecting and doing those together.
So I got a question that popped up. So yeah. Kyle Dawkins asked, he said the in-home experience was really dope, and he just wanted to know, what does the average price run for something like that?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say average, it's anywhere between 50 to 100 per person. So I really do, like, I'll have a set rate for myself. And that's something, I mean, it's been 3 months, so that's something I'm still really trying to hone in on what my pricing should be. But right now I've set it at 100. So it's 100 for the private chef experience. And then I really just try to go off of whatever their budget is. So I kind of give them ideas of what a $50 per person budget would look like, or what a $100 per person budget would look like. And that seemed to have worked out so far in terms of profitability, just what I end up spending on the food and all of that. I do have like a spreadsheet that I use for food costs and things like that. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time to come back to the person with the numbers and the menus, just because a lot of times I am kind of doing them on the fly. So it's been fun because I know that I have the confidence, and I know that whatever I make is going to be good. It's just a matter of like figuring out what that's going to be. That's the hard part for me. So that's the part that the back end, like the business part of it, I don't necessarily love. I don't love responding to emails every day, but if I'm going to work for myself and have my own business, then that's what we're going to do. So, but once I'm in the kitchen, that's where I'm the happiest. So that's why I love those in-home dinners. The virtual classes are fun. I've done like a little bit of catering here and there for parties of 20. So those I always have to bring somebody along for those to help out.
Right. But, like how did Christmas work out for you? Because I know people are having like holiday parties and stuff at home, trying to keep the crowds somewhat smaller and stuff due to COVID and everything. So how has that affected, you doing this?
Yeah. So I mean, just like really, to be really candid, I always wear a mask when I go. And I haven't done a party larger than 12 in an intimate setting. So like the one I've done a couple of 20s that were either like at an inn or at a school, things like that, just for staffing. But yeah, it really hasn't been an issue, just because they have been more intimate, which has been nice too, because it's, I mean, it's a lot less risky, honestly, than working in a restaurant where I'm serving 200 to 300 people a day. So it's good in that sense. But everyone's been just really supportive and just really respectful. I mean, yeah, it's been a good experience. Christmas, I actually got a little nervous like the week after Christmas and then like the week after New Year. So like that 2-week period, it was just like radio silence almost. And I'm just like, okay, this business is not going to work. But I think everyone was literally just like spending time with their families. Yeah. And so after that little lull, then the phone started ringing again. I'm like, okay, I can breathe. So, yeah.
Here for a minute, huh?
Yes. At least I know what to expect for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going, we're starting off, we're only 20 days into 2021. What are you looking for the rest of this year and beyond?
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely want to continue the Chef Cheese and Corks with Christina. Those have been just really fun, just meeting different people and just doing something different every time, and being able to use their wine in my cooking. And I want to at least at a minimum continue monthly virtual classes. So once a month. So the public ones are only $15. So anybody can get on and do those. But I've had 3 private ones, actually 4 private ones book just in the month of February. So those are big too, because people have friends all across the country, right? And then everybody's already getting together on Zoom to see their friends across the country. We might as well cook and make dinner while we're doing it. Yep. So those have been cool. And then really just the in-home parties. I love doing the in-home parties just because they're so much more intimate and fun, and I kind of get to cook what I want to cook. I mean, I'll offer the menus and stuff and the options, but they're all coming from me and stuff that is exciting to me. So just even having something coming up on in-home dinner, I just think about it and go over my shopping list and my menu. That's when I get excited. So just continuing on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, hey, fellow Marauders, we have had Chef Katie Cox on. She's been, and basically laying the whole shebang on us from the culinary world, from her journey, growing up in West Virginia, going to Le Cordon Bleu, her number of restaurant openings she's been involved with, the cooking styles, her wanting to go on Chopped and test the judges on that, and and everything she's got going on from the Chef Cheese and Corks events with her partnership with PRP. A shout out to Christina. Thank you for viewing. And and then the other thing she has going on, like the home dining experiences, catering events, and cooking classes. So hey, we appreciate you coming on here and spending some time with us and having some fun with us and stuff. Hey, we wish you nothing but the best going forward. And before we let you get out of here, man, I got comments coming in up the wazoo. So, all right. So, Beth Sears, great show. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for tuning in. And there's going to be more coming later on down the line. I hope you continue to follow us and check us out. And Megan Bryce, thank you. Thank you also. And thank you for y'all's added content, added questions and stuff like that. Made it fun. And we'll look to do it again. So before we let you go, Katie, where can the Marauders and the listeners find you?
Yes, so I have my website. So my actual LLC name is Cox Kitchen, Cox Kitchen LLC. So that is my website, coxkitchen.com. And then I made it really simple on Instagram and Facebook. It's Chef Katie Cox. So easy to remember. Nobody can ever just say Katie. They always have to say my last name too. So I was like, let's run with it. So Chef Katie Cox on Instagram and Facebook. And then my website is coxkitchen.com.
Got you. All right. So y'all got the news that you can use. So going out and give Chef Katie Cox some business and help out and help, entrepreneur out there. So, hey, the Marauders support you any way we can. And, hey, we may be hitting you up for a gig ourselves. So
Sounds good.
So, all right.
Thank
So
you.
before you go, you got any shout outs or anything? Anybody you want to final thoughts or shout outs?
No, I mean really just my family and growing up in such a small town in West Virginia, I was really surprised the social media backing that I've gotten on Facebook and things like that. So really just thankful for all of that because it's definitely been an emotional roller coaster. Like when the phone's not ringing and then I get 5 phone calls in one day. So it's just constant up and down. So I'm thankful for my family and friends who have been able to keep me grounded and support me.
That's what it's all about, fam. So
Yep.
well, we appreciate you coming on. Final thoughts from your boy Kels. Hey, thank you all. This has been a really, really dope show. A lot of fun. I always like talking about food. I'm hungry as we speak. I'm gonna go eat some spaghetti and meatballs after this. But thank you, Katie, for coming on, and everybody for tuning in. The fellow marauders out there supporting the show, supporting what we're doing. Shout out to the military, the folks out there still putting in the work and all that stuff. The healthcare professionals, the doctors, the teachers. My kids started school back this week in class. They're loving it. And, I'm just hoping that, everybody can stay safe, stay healthy out there so we can get back to business and doing the things that we enjoy doing in this life. So, hey, Culture Marauders, the show where we maraud on all culture and deliver the goods to you, the masses, the listeners out there. There's a number of ways that, you can get a hold of us. You got something you want us to maraud on? Let us know. There's a number of ways that we can do that. Hit us up on Instagram at the Culture Marauders at _culture_marauders. I see a bunch of new faces on there. So, hey, hit us up and you can stay in tune with what we got cooking up. So Instagram, and then we got Facebook at the Culture Marauders. And if you just want to email your boy Kels and say, hey, Kels, we want to hear about this, or I got a story about this, or I know a person who can do this, hit us up at theculturemarauders@gmail.com. So great interview, great fun, great time, great life. So, hey, appreciate you guys. Be safe out there. Take care of one another. And we're going to leave you with one culture, one blood, one love. Peace.
Bye. Thank you.